Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we head to a place where all animals are welcome, no matter the kind. From farm animals to exotics, even some domestics, volunteers are changing the lives of these animals one day at a time. And we meet North America's only marsupial, who often unfairly gets a bad rap. Plus, we get in behind the scenes to a new interactive exhibit where you may recognize the main cast of characters. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Caring for animals is a privilege, but all too often someone gets an animal as a pet and finds out it's more than they can handle. Then what? Well, sometimes it ends with the animal getting abused or neglected. But thankfully, there are people out there who care. We want to introduce you to the Farmhouse Animal and Nature Sanctuary, where they've welcomed everything from a therapy pig to a kangaroo with open arms. Well, Lisa, here you are in the middle of Myakka City, Florida.
Yes.
Really in the middle of Myakka City, Florida. And you have these wonderful animals around you. So I think we need to find out, how did you do this? How did you get them? And you have some really unique animals.
Yes, we do. We do. We have a wide variety of animals, from farm animals, which are horses and pigs and goats, to exotics, kangaroos, tortoises, birds, a little bit of everything, sugar gliders. There's a couple of dogs here with us, ducks, everything you can think of just about.
And each one of them requires different care and special care.
Yes.
How did you learn all of this?
Hands-on, basically. We were volunteers at another sanctuary for over 8 years. And when they decided it was time to retire, we went over as live-in caretakers for 2 years, helping them downsize, find homes for the ones that they could. The ones that weren't able to be rehomed, whether it was medical or age, we decided to open up our own sanctuary and brought everyone back here with us to Myakka, and the rest is history.
What would be the first animal you'd like to introduce us to?
We're going to show you the kangaroos.
Okay, let's do it.
We have 6 of them in here right now. There's 2 wallaroos and 4 kangaroos. All of them are 12 years and older. Some of them are very friendly, some would rather you didn't come near them, so we just go up slow. This is Tugboat. He's not very people friendly. He would never hurt you, but he doesn't like people, so if you get too close, he just growls and runs away.
They growl?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
So now over here we've got the 4 kangaroos. There's a albino, and you'll see toys laying out here. Powder, the white one, she loves playing with balls. She carries them around. Small rocks she'll put in her pouch. Would you like to bottle feed one?
Well, sure.
Onto that.
All right.
And just hang on to it real tight like this.
Like so.
Right. Would you
Well,
like to try
I'll
Rosebud?
do this one.
Okay.
Rosebud.
Rosebud. Doesn't look interesting. Rosebud's a sick little girl. She has cancer. Right now we're just going for quality of life. There's really nothing the vet can do for her, and she doesn't show signs of pain.
Hi, baby.
She's still eating and drinking and loves the attention.
There we
she
go.
goes. She does get up and plays with the others, but
I did make a mess.
we tend to baby her a little, as you can see.
Anything we can do for you right now, we'll do.
Right.
Now, we really don't know the origins of
Where they came
from?
From different areas. Some have come through because of medical issues. Some were babies, and the people that had them knew nothing about them. And the woman that ran the other sanctuary, that was her specialty. She was a vet, retired vet, and her specialty were marsupials. So she would take them in and nurse everyone back to health. Some of them came from traveling circuses. I mean, just all different places.
What is the life expectancy?
10 to 12 years.
And so are we looking at senior citizens here?
Very much so. They're all 12 years and older. They will come up when you're doing this and giving them treats, and they'll hold your hand, they'll try to hug you. They're definitely very loving. It's not like what you see on YouTube, where they're beating each other up, and only if they're provoked. and they've been in captivity pretty much their whole lives. But they really don't make a good backyard pet. That's the only thing we do want people to understand. Yes, these guys are loving and they have a nice little mob here, but people will buy them off of the internet and then get them home and put one kangaroo in their backyard with a dog and think that it's going to work, and it doesn't. Oh, good girl. Look at you. She's really the only one that plays with them. The others will lay with them and use them almost like a pillow. They love stuffed animals. So do you see how she got her back feet up?
Yes.
She was just playing. She was not trying to be aggressive with him, but she will use her back feet as well as her front paws to play with that ball. You got her too excited.
The one on the string she plays with.
She loves the one on the string. She's like, nope.
There we go.
And it's important for them to have their own species, playmates. One or two is really not a great idea. They are group animals. They live in a mob. So this is our newest habitat. We have Muscovy and Mallards in here. There were bunches of them that were brought to us a little while back that didn't have their moms. And they're considered nuisance animals in Florida, so they cannot be released. And if you take them in on a farm, you have to have something to contain them. So Dave and a couple of our volunteers have been working like crazy for the last couple months getting this ready. They put in a pond. They have an enclosure they can get into away from the rain and the wind and this natural bog area. I don't consider them to be a nuisance. I guess that's the simple answer. You know, they have a right to live just like we do. It's a lot of work. We have a few volunteers that come I can't say every day. I've got like 3 people that come. They're part of our feed and clean crew that help out Dave and I in the mornings. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to feed and clean all of the feed areas every day. Afternoons, it's another hour going through and making sure that the water's fresh and they have their food for the evening. We also have groups that come out, like school kids that'll come out and help on the weekends. And it's always a shock to me because my volunteers leave and they'll tell me thank you. And I'm like, I should be thanking you. You're making my life easier. But they are always, oh, thank you for letting us come out here. Thank you for letting us rake manure. You know? But it's therapeutic. These are all tortoises. People get them and don't realize that sulcatas will grow to be 150 pounds, 20, 30 inches across. It's a little hard to keep that in your backyard. Now this is our aviary. This is another project that was recently almost completed. I shouldn't say completed, we still have a little bit to do in here. This is where the injured ducks live, as well as several pigeons. There's a little house with cockatiels and a sun condor. The 3 ducks came from a couple different situations. Emmy, the little black Muscovy mix over there, she was found wandering around Tampa with an arrow in her neck. And it was for months she was like that. They finally somebody caught her, brought her to the vet, they removed the arrow, and friends of ours that do rescue, rehab, they contacted us and said if we could take her here. This is Danny and Valentine. Danny was actually our very first rescue. And he had a very good life. He was a young girl that had him as a barrel racer, but he broke a leg and wasn't able to race any longer. And basically her parents couldn't afford to keep 2 horses, so if she wanted to continue to race, she'd have to rehome him. Valentine the paint. She came from another rescue that a friend of ours has. We actually adopted her from them. She was a case where there was 4 horses left out in the field, not taken care of at all. And her top teeth had to all be pulled because they would crib so bad on the fence. Dakota's the latest horse. He's only been here a year. His family were very big supporters of ours, and the father became ill with cancer, so they really did not have the choice. They couldn't afford all of the medical treatments for the father and be able to help take care of him. And they had actually rescued him from a bad situation. So we just finished what they started with him.
Well, this has been a variety, hasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
So you have to learn about all of these animals.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and each one has a different thing that you have to do, different care that you have to do for them.
Of course. Well, I feel like I've got somebody in the palm of my hand.
We can actually let them peek out just a little and see
Okay.
their little faces.
Oh, there are 3. Here they are.
They will try to leave, so we have to just keep an eye on them. This is Casper. He's a Goffin cockatoo.
Well, hi there.
We call this the misfit farm because that's what everyone here has been, something has happened to them.
Oh, yeah.
These are our dwarfs and pygmies and La Mancha goats. None of them will get any bigger than what they are now. Okay, so this is Colt. He's the newest. Colt is the best. He's the newest. He was found wandering around a street down near Punta Gorda. Nobody around claimed him. The people took him into their home for a couple days and realized that he was injured. You can see he's doing just fine. We took him to a surgeon and he had to put a plate and 5 pins in his shoulder. The injury was old. They figured it was a couple months old and he had been walking around like that. They had to re-break his shoulder to put the pins and stuff in, but he's roughly about a year old, but he won't get any bigger than what he is now. Hi, babies. And so we get calls at least once a week for pigs, to take in pigs. Mostly people will get the little teacup pigs and think they're going to stay teacups, and this is what they end up being. This is Taylor. Taylor says, "Did you leave me any cookies?" And there's more to just feeding them and keeping their areas clean. Just like horses have to have their hooves trimmed, so do the pigs. And if you have a pig that has tusks, they will need to be trimmed.
You know, most of your animals have come to you because they've been neglected, they're sick,
Right.
and they were abused somewhere along the line. And those of us who have sanctuaries, such as we have Dante's Den, we see this every day.
Yes.
And it's heartbreaking,
It
isn't
really is. It's very heartbreaking. It's difficult to say no.
Yes.
You want to try and help every one of them that you see. Unfortunately, we don't have the space for everyone, so we do have to limit what we bring in. We want our animals to enjoy the rest of their lives. We want them to have the space that they need. So cramming 10 horses into 1 acre is never going to happen.
No, that's not going to work. What's in the future for Farmhouse Sanctuary?
We have projects going on all the time. We're trying to always improve the habitats here for the animals. We're converting a large building into a room that kids can come and learn about small animals, hands-on, and there'll be habitats within there that the animals can stay in.
Do you find that the children that come really want to be here, and do you think that you can cultivate them enough so that as they get older, they're going to have the same love that you have?
That's
for
our
the
goal.
sanctuary?
That is definitely one of our goals, to make sure that the children understand what it takes to take care of them, and that they're our responsibility. They're not, it's a privilege for us to be able to take care of them. So we want to make sure we can pass that on to the next generation.
For more information on volunteer programs or how you can help this nonprofit, visit their Facebook page or their website, farmhousesanctuary.org. Coming up next, fact or fiction? Do opossums really play dead? We'll find out more about this misunderstood marsupial.
I think something happened to my family. I'm scared and lonely. What's going to happen to me now?
Don't worry, Sonny. Our loving staff at Dante's Den will take care of all your pet needs for the rest of your life. A warm bed, toys, great food, walking, and swimming is all at your paw tips. And if you get sick, there is even a hospital and medical staff to help you get well. Dante's Den, continuing the love.
So Kaylee, we have an adorable little girl here.
Yes.
And her name is Pippin.
Yes.
And she is?
She is a Virginia opossum. So these guys can be found right here in Florida and across most of North America. And what's something really awesome about these guys is they're North America's only marsupial. So a marsupial is going to be something like similar to a kangaroo and things like that. That means they have a pouch. So underneath her, she does have a pouch. It's a backwards facing pouch. So she doesn't look like a kangaroo. The babies aren't going to stick out like that. But that makes them really awesome. Now these guys kind of get a bad rap out there. People think that these guys can carry rabies and things like that. But a really awesome, opossums are amazing. Their body temperature is actually too low to house the rabies virus. So if you see these guys out during the day, they're going to be primarily nocturnal. But if they're out during the day, it doesn't mean they have rabies. A lot of people do think that. It's kind of a misconception on these guys. But they can't carry it. Now, Pippin here, her mom was hit by a car, so her and her brother were saved. Luckily, a passerby went and checked the pouch of the mother and found her and her brother when they were just little pinkies about that big. So these guys were rehabbed. Fortunately, they were too used to being fed by people and things like that, so they weren't able to be released. But we provided a home for her and her brother, Cricket, and they are part of our ambassador collection. So these guys are coming out, meeting guests, and teaching about them.
Now, I'm watching this tail.
Yes.
Strength galore
Yes.
in this tail.
Yep.
She really uses this nose.
Yep, she
Yeah?
does. So they have really poor eyesight, so their nose is going to be their kind of main sense, and you can see that she has all those whiskers around her.
Yes,
That's going to be
yes.
her sensory whiskers to kind of help her find food and things like that. You can see that she's kind of looking for those little pieces.
Yes, she is.
And this tail here, it's actually prehensile. So she's going to use that to hang on to things. Now, there is a kind of a myth that these guys can hang upside down from trees and things. When they're super young, they can, when they're only about this big. But at this size, their body weight is way too heavy to be holding them upside down. But they are going to use that to help them balance and hang on to things.
And it's very scaly.
It is very scaly. If it was covered in hair, they wouldn't be able to kind of grab onto those things. These guys like to carry around their blankets by their tail and take them into their house.
Pippin,
Where you
does she
going,
know her
Pippin?
name?
She kind of does. She'll kind of perk up, but she won't come to you like a dog will. Now these guys only live to be about 3 years old, believe it or not. So it's kind of unfortunate, but Pippin here is only 6 months old, so she has a little bit more growing to do. She's gonna kind of fill out some, but she's gonna have a nice, happy life.
I'm looking at those ears. Very unusual.
They are very unusual. So they also have an excellent hearing because they are lacking that eyesight. So she's going to use those. She can hear everything that's going on around here. You can kind of see them twitching and
Yes.
things like that.
They're like little antennae.
Yes, they
just
are.
Constantly going.
Yep.
And they're the most solid color of her whole body.
Yes, they are, and it's actually a really identifying mark on these guys. So each, usually when they're housed together, like her brother has little white kind of tips on his ears, so that's how we're able to tell them apart.
Now, you talked about a myth before, but there's another myth, or is it? Playing dead?
Yes, so these guys, they can play possum. I'm sure you've all heard that. Now what that is an involuntary response. So when their stress hormones get skyrocketed, say something's like a predator's chasing them, or a lot of times we see that with cars and things like that, their hormones get too high and they pass out. So they cannot control it. It's not something that they can do voluntarily. It's just whenever those hormones get too high, they can't measure how long they do it for. Sometimes they're asleep for 15 minutes and sometimes they're asleep for 4 hours. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Now when they do play possum, they will fall over on their backs and secrete this like musky odor to make them smell like dead, gross things so that the predator hopefully leaves them alone.
Well, not such a bad thing. Maybe we should try that, right? Perk up those hormone levels. Now, would you say that Pippin is full grown at this point?
She's gonna grow a little bit more. She's gonna kind of fill out, but for size, for a female opossum, she's about full grown.
Now, does it take a special license to own an opossum?
Yes, so since she was a rehabbed animal, she is going to, you're going to have your rehabber's license if you want to care for animals that you're taking out of the wild, especially of native species. Now, in the state of Florida, she is considered a Class 3 animal, so she's not dangerous by any means, but you do need a permit to have her.
Well, does she have teeth? And does she bite?
So she does have teeth. They actually have the most teeth of any North American land mammal. So there's about 52 needle-sharp teeth in that mouth, and that's going to be their kind of main defense mechanism. So if a big predator comes up to them, they're going to open that mouth and they're going to hiss. So she's going to want to show off all of those teeth.
Well, she definitely wants a headshot with our cameras, so
does.
she's posing for that. We know that they're out in the wild, and certainly people such as yourselves and the staff here at Jungle Gardens make sure that they are safe when they come to you.
Yes.
But what do they really contribute to our ecosystem?
So they do so much for our environment. One of the biggest things that I think people don't really understand about these guys is they're omnivores. So they're gonna eat pretty much anything that they can get a hold of. Now, one of that items is ticks. So they help control tick diseases. Now, on average, these guys will eat about 3,000 ticks a year. So that's going to help with the control of all of those viruses and diseases that those ticks carry. So they do a great role and help the population control for rodents and insects and things like that.
Well, you're a hero. So we had to ask, is it opossum or possum? According to the dictionary, you can choose either way to say it. Possum is more common, but opossum is what the science type prefer. Stick around, there's more animal outtakes after the break. Mote Marine is hosting a new interactive exhibit to get kids interested in science and the world around us. And this time, they've paired up with a popular kids television show to focus on STEM-based skills. Take a look at Wild Kratts Ocean Adventure.
We're here setting up for our first day of Wild Kratts Ocean Adventure, which is a temporary exhibit that we have here until June 6th. That promotes education about the ocean through play. They can learn all about how sharks get clean. They can learn about different adaptations that animals have. They can learn about shark teeth. They can learn about exploring the ocean, and they can do it with some of their favorite friends from Wild Kratts. It's very important because it promotes the entire family learning. Here at Mote, we have a lot of learning through observation. We have a lot of learning through our animals. This is interactive. This is more through play, and it's a very hands-on experience to learn about the ocean. So at Mote, we started because of a young girl visiting an aquarium, and we hope that younger generations are inspired to get involved with ocean adventure and education. And we hope to do that by starting young and getting kids involved as early as possible. Right now, a lot of kids are learning through screens. It's very screen heavy. Being out and learning more through touching and engaging is very important because it teaches kids in a different kind of way. Mote is all about conservation and education. So it's so important for people to come out and see what we're living around. Here in Sarasota, we're surrounded by the Gulf, and you don't necessarily always think about that. So when you come to a place like Mote, you're involving yourself in what surrounds you. You're learning more about the environment that's around you and why it's so important to preserve it.
For more information on this interactive exhibit, go to mote.org, and we'll be right back. To our loyal viewers, it has come to our attention that Frontier Communications cable customers no longer have access to WWSB ABC 7. This means a significant number of people will no longer have access to watch Animal Outtakes in the manner they may be used to seeing it. We are extremely disappointed in Frontier Communications. We've also heard from many viewers who are frustrated as well. The good news is that all of our episodes are on our YouTube channel and can be watched at your convenience. Each new show is uploaded on Monday mornings throughout the regular season. You'll also find all of our other seasons from years past. Should you wish to watch us on WWSB in the traditional manner, I encourage you to do what I hear many current Frontier customers are doing. They are switching to Comcast or Spectrum cable systems. Both offer the same, if not better, rates and service. If not available in your area, all satellite systems such as Dish TV also carry us on WWSB ABC 7. In addition, we are also available on WWSB ABC 7 for free with the WWSB app on Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, as well as with our over-the-air digital antenna. We're going strong in our 8th season, and we truly enjoy bringing meaningful content to you, the stories that matter about animals and the people who care for them. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. We'll be back here again next week with some more animals and even more encounters. Until then, thanks for watching.
So they just try and do it as quick as they can. No, no. Oh, go nosy!